I'm going to talk to you guys about how to color balance. If you go to the files that I sent to you, so you'll go to File, Open. Here is one of them, and I'll do the same right now. File, Open, and I'm going to find the other. And then there is one more that I did attach. Where the heck is it? Aha. And finally, I'm going to open this one as well. So sometimes when you take a photo, you can tell the camera how you would like the color balance to look. And your camera can do a pretty good job sometimes. So for example, on a cloudy day, if you have it set right, you're gonna get some really nice colors. Shade as well, daylight. You can see with the flash that it flattens things out a little bit. There's not as much of a difference between the light areas and the dark. So that is flattening. And then with fluorescent light and tungsten light, which is like what yellow light is in a classroom, or sometimes it comes off as a pink or a green, your photos can start getting really messed up, and we need to know how to correct them. So the way we do that is, actually there are lots of ways in Photoshop to color correct your picture. There's no particularly great one. It kind of depends on the photo that you're using. And I'm gonna show you guys a few of those things right now. So I'm gonna go over to the blue one first. Sometimes what I like to do right off the bat is I like to hit Command J or Control J, and that just doubles the layer right here. It's a shortcut. You could also go and right click on this and duplicate the layer. So I've duplicated that, and sometimes the first thing I will do, just out of curiosity, is I will go to Image, Auto Color. Not bad, but not great. I can still see a lot of blue in his hair. He's got a lot of blue cast in his eye.
We could have all grade 9 and 10 classes dismissed right now. That would be great. Grade 9 and 10 classes can be dismissed.
So there is still a lot of blue happening in here, and there's still these funny casts along him. So I would actually say I would not use this one, because right away I can just see that the automatic color balance isn't working out very well. So there are quite a few different things that we can do still. This is called our adjustments layer panel. Adjustment layers are kind of the way that we can change like lights and darks and the colors in our photo to make them look right. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to color balance right here first. So half and a half circle, color balance. And I'm going to swing this over. You can see that this makes it bluer and this makes it yellower. Yellow is the opposite to blue. And so it can balance out some of those blues for you. So I want to just do this until the baby's skin looks closer to real color. I know it's not going to be perfect. There's still going to be lots of blues around here in the eyes and stuff, but right now, just as step one, that's the one I'm checking. I'm also going to try, there's a lot of cyan in here, so I'm going to bring it up to the red. And right away, you can see how much better this is looking as far as color goes. And then the final one, usually you don't need to worry about the magenta and the green. I could bring it over, but again, I think just leaving that one right there is pretty good. So that's my first adjustment layer. If I've overdone it, I can turn it on and off right here. And I can also adjust the opacity of this. And so I can go and I can see if maybe I went too far, I could go back down. So that's that one. The next one I want to try is I'm going to go to the half and half again. This is the adjustment layer panel. And I'm going to go to hue saturation. And I can select a master, but really the things I'm after right now are correcting all of these hard blues. So I'm going to select blues, and I'm going to, I have a few choices. I could select the blues, and then I could start bringing them through here. And I just want them to be white. So I could look in here and see white. The next thing I can do as well is I can bring down the saturation. So saturation means how much of that color there is. And you can see there's a lot in the face along the side there. I'm not going to take it completely off because that's going to leave little gray speckles in all of these places. It's going to turn kind of gray. But I am going to turn it down more. And I can also bring it up, the brightness a little bit more there as well. But I don't want white speckles on the baby's head, so I can't bring it up too much. And then I can go to my cyans. Cyans and blues are very closely related. And again, I can just see, okay, do I really want to change the color? No. But again, if I do the hue and saturation, I can see that that baby has a lot of blue on its face. So I'm going to go in here as well, and I am going to bring down the saturation level right there. And I could bring this brighter as well. But not too bright because I will remove color from the baby's face.
Grade 11s and 12s, have a great night.
Something else I can do is I can go to photo filter. Photo filter will put a warming filter on. So if it is too blue, by adding warm, the opposite, I'm going to get yellow, and that might improve things a little bit. And I can actually go through these warming filters right here and see if there is one that I like. Now that's a cooling filter, and I can turn it on and off to see whether that gives me a more natural color, and it definitely does. I can also see some colors in this baby's hair here. It's kind of a blue-green. I might go back to my hue saturation, so I can double click on this 1/2 circle again, and I could go into the greens and just see that, yeah, there's actually a lot of greens in that hair that I'm going to bring down, and if I wish, brighten up. Now, there are a couple things here. If I don't like it all over the picture like this, I can make some adjustments. I can click on the mask right here. We learned about masks when we did our cutting out. And I can use a black brush. I'll bring down the opacity a little bit. I'm going to make sure it's a soft brush. And I can remove some of what I did here. And you can see when I do that, it's actually bringing back the blue in the face, which I don't want. But I do want to get rid of some of the light areas in the skin. I can fix them up later. Okay? And there we go. That's most of the color correcting done for me before I even worry about the big heavy stuff. There are some other things you can do as well. You can do selective color, and you can also go through this way, and you can take out cyans like that. So if you wanted, for example, the blanket to be white and just the outfit to be cyan, then what I could do is making sure I'm clicked on this layer mask. Oops. I can remove what I just did from the outfit and leave the rest of it this color right here. And I could remove it from the baby's eyes if I wished. So there's a few things to do that right there. However, it looks a little stark, doesn't it? If I'm not happy with that, I can adjust it. So this is where the art part comes in, where you're not just doing the techniques, but you're kind of using your eyes to figure out what is going to look best here. And I did get some of that cyan back on that baby's nose. And if I wanted to add it back, or sorry, if I wanted to add back the hue saturation and take that away, then I can just use my white brush and do that. So there are some options right there, and I can keep going through selective color. If I want to go back, I'm just double clicking on that half and half circle right here, and I can start changing the colors around until I am happy with them. And I can paint them on and off until I get something that looks more like this little critter should. So here is everything turned off. And here is everything turned back on. And I think you can see that it's not perfect, but we can go later and fix this stuff up. But this is generally color balanced. And if I wanted, I could go into the blues as well, and so forth, and increase reds, for example, and make things a little bit pinker. So I've got some options in order to get the basic color balance fixed up here. I would happily accept this as a more color balanced picture, and this one is really hard actually. It's one of the hardest ones you would need to do. When you're done and you think you've got it as good as it's going to get, then you can flatten it, or you can select all of this stuff with your shift key, right click, and convert to a smart object, and then save it as a JPEG for me. Oh, it won't do that with a smart object. So flatten image and save it as a JPEG for me. The next one, it's going to be very similar, and this is just, you know, a cheap copyright-free picture I picked up. It's not the greatest, but it'll do. So again, I could kind of cheat first, hit Control J, make a copy of that layer, and even see if that's going to turn out. And all I did was fade it out. It didn't do much for it at all. I'm just curious. And there you go. So sometimes auto color at the very end, it didn't work very well at the beginning, but at the very end, auto color actually did a nice job because I balanced everything else out. So that one is even better. That would be great. I'm going to especially look for the skin and making sure that the whites back here are neutral. That means not too yellow, not too blue when you hand this in to me. The next one is this one right here. So I'm not impressed again with how the auto color went. So I'm going to delete that layer. I don't need it. I can just work on this one. And I'm going to go back over here to the adjustment layers, and I can start, I'm actually going to start with hue saturation because I see so much yellow in this one. And I'm going to remove quite a bit of the yellow. I adjust the hue and saturation and I move the saturation up. It does get rid of some of that muddiness that I see right there. This is kind of like faded out. And I could bring down the darkness as well if I wished, or increase the brightness, but those aren't really helping this picture very much, I don't think. I can go into the color balance again. And this is very yellow, so I can bring down a little bit of those yellows and add in the blue. This is very red. I can turn those into a little bit more of a cyan. And now you can see that the gold here is more of a natural gold color. And I'm especially looking at the whites to give me a sense if things are going well. If I see some pure whites in here, I'm just going to take my eyedropper there. And I can just see how close to white I am getting. Okay, forget the eyedropper right now. I can see, oh, that's because I was selected the wrong thing. So if I select my whites, it's actually showing me how close to white they are. It shows here that there's a littlest bit of yellow, but that my whites are getting pretty close and that they are properly balanced. So that tells me that this is probably pretty much color balanced. However, I do notice that it's still a little faded. It's not great. I'm going to go over to vibrance right here. And I'm just going to increase the vibrance. And again, there's that saturation, which is just a little bit much. But I can increase the vibrance if I wish in order to help match that a little bit. So before and after, not a big difference, but there is a little bit of a difference. And I could go to my selective color again. And for example, I could go to my yellows and I could start going through all the colors. And there we go, even more. There's those yellows gone, and there are the more neutral colors. So right there, using selective color. And if you're not sure, just start going through and start trying everything until you get the picture looking the way that you want it to look. And the great thing is, as I said, you can always take these and you can change the opacity if you think that you've gone too far, and you can fix them that way. You can turn them off. You can turn them back on. You can add something else like the photo filter. And in this, instead of warming, because it was already a really warm picture, I could do some cooling. And that's too cool. I could go in and do something like this. And now I have a picture that is ready to be used for something else. And it's not distracting by having all of that overdone yellow on it. It is a much more balanced neutral photo. So I can flatten that once I'm positive I'm happy with it. If you're not sure if you're going to be happy with it, save it as a Photoshop file. Otherwise, we will save this as a JPEG, and that will be that. The final one here is this woman. Now, she is actually, on first glance, there are things that are going well here. This background does show some color balancing. It's a little bit on the blue side, but you can see on her face, there are lots of patches where there's like too much of certain colors. So I would like you this time to do the recognizing of what colors are kind of too saturated here, what's going on too much. And I would like you to please adjust this photo to the best of your abilities using the adjustment tools in order to make this look like a more naturally color balanced photo. And when you're done, if you could please submit it into the right section of the Google Classroom.